In this module, we will talk about how do you get the McAfee Endpoint Security software installed. The goals of this module are that you will learn how to get the required software components for the ENS product, what are the steps that you need to follow to install the endpoint security on the EPO server so that you can deploy it out, and also how can you install it on a standalone environment that's self-managed. We'll also talk about how to get the required software components, and we will identify and distinguish between the different required software components. We will learn how to add the required extensions and packages to the EPO server, and how to verify the extensions and packages were added successfully to the EPO server. For the supported installation scenarios, the required software that you have to have is you always have to have the agent and the ENS product. Everything else either comes under optional or that is not available for that particular feature. The one that definitely has where EPO is a part of it is you have the EPO on-premise management of this product. Your installation workflow for the McAfee on-premise is first you have to get the required ENS software. There's various methods to do that. You add the extensions and the packages to your EPO server, and also what's not put in here is I would replicate to your distributed repositories if you have any distributed repositories. You also have, do I want to do the migration? If I have the migration, then you also have to add the migration extension because it is separate. If I don't need it, then I don't have to worry about adding that extension. But after that, verify you have the correct extensions and you have the packages added. And then make sure that you have all of your content files updated, because the EPO server needs to, after it has this extension added, it should do another pull task from the source repository, because now it's going to download the AM core content that has to do with the ENS product. Two methods of downloading and getting the software for this product is you can go to our product download site and put in your grant number, and then you can download it from your grant site. Otherwise, you have EPO installed. I log into the EPO server, and if your EPO server can see the internet, you can access the software manager, and you can use the software manager to actually help you download the products that you need. If you utilize the software manager to help you get your products downloaded, you'll look at that. What you do is you click Menu, Software, and Software Manager. One of the things that I recommend is if you're not seeing anything new, click the refresh button, and that will force the EPO server to requery the software. And then you can see your different updates. In the top, you'll see updates available. If you see a little number there, that will show you that there's a new version of whatever product you already have checked in. Otherwise, I can look at the checked in software that shows you the license in the evaluation software, and you can see the detail having to do with all the software that you have checked into your server. I can also see software that's not checked in, and that's also divided up into different sections as to the different types of software, licensed and unlicensed. We also have the McAfee compatible solutions, where we have some integrations that you can use that has to do with other third-party security technologies. You can go to our www.mcafee.com SIA integrations to see all the different software that can be used to be integrated with that. The thing is we also have another software by the label, so we'll actually have different products that are set up in bundles, and it has to do with the different types of solutions that they provide. So we'll have the category list into different groups that has to do with those particular software. But what's very important about the software manager is your EPO server has to have connectivity to the internet to be able to get this information. Adding extensions manually, you can always go to the Menu Software Extensions feature in EPO, and you can select the Install Extension, browse to where you've downloaded the file, select the file, be sure you did not unzip the extension unless you're told to. Then I click OK. You'll have another page that will have to do with the Install Extension dialog box. You'll verify that you have the right extension, click OK, and then you'll have another page that opens up. You'll look at all the details and click OK, and wait while it puts the new extension on the EPO server. And then you can click on the extensions page and verify that your extension was successfully installed. Adding packages is a whole nother process, but you can add them manually utilizing the menu software master repository, and this is where we can go through, click the little button that says check in package, browse to where you have the package downloaded onto your computer, select that package, be sure you did select product or update, then click open, then click next. Review your information about your package, saying what name, what version, the type, the language, anything of that's important to you. Make sure that the branch you selected was current, and then click next and click save. And then you wait while the package is being added to the master repository. After you do that, I would recommend that then you would replicate to all your distributed repositories, so that if I can go in and create my product deployment task, a machine can go to the closest repository and download the product from that repository instead of all the machines coming back to the EPO server. But you can look in your master repository and you can locate the product in your list. You can see all the information as to the status of that file, the type, version, the minor version, the language, when it was checked in, who it was it signed, and also the branch that was checked into. To verify your extensions and your packages, the easiest way is to go to the extensions page of EPO, click on the product. For example, this shows I'm clicking on the Endpoint Security and verify what version number I have installed. And then the packages, I can go to the menu Software Master Repository, find my product in there under Endpoint, and if you'll notice, this one lists all the different packages. We have the Security Adaptive Threat Protection, the Firewall, the Platform, the Threat Prevention, and the Web Control. It's always important that your products get their signature updates. We have lots of names that we call these. We call them signatures, we call them DATs, we also talk about the AM core. But the important thing is that you make sure that your machines have the latest versions of any of these DATs files. So ideally you should have where your EPO server has where it automatically pulls down the latest versions every day and has it in the master repository, and then you replicate to your distributed repositories. The download software product list is the part that has to do with the software manager, and as if you'll recall, I told you that it does that automatically. You can change it and have it run at a different schedule, but by default it runs every day. The master repository, we also have a default scheduled task called Update Master Repository, and it's set to pull down the DATs or all the different files every day, and you can change that and have that where it's a different time of day for that task. This figure shows you an example of the download software product list server task. If you'll notice at the top, it has the name, the different notes, it's enabled, and then on the actions you'll see that the only option is download software product list, and on the schedule you'll see that it's set daily and it sets every day at 1:45 a.m. So you can go in and you can leave it be this configuration unless you want to change the time of day for it to do this download. The Update Master Repository server task, if you recall, I told you it's already enabled, it already has its set schedule, but this shows you an example of what it looks like. So the description page has that Update Master Repository, it is enabled with the notes. You have on the actions that it automatically pulls down from the McAfee HTTP source site. It automatically downloads all packages and it puts it in the current branch, and it does not automatically move the existing packages to the previous. If you want to, you can select that. Please note, I want to mention that even though you have package type selected and it says all packages, it actually does not download any packages that you do not already have those extensions installed onto the EPO server. So you don't really have to worry about going in and selecting selected packages. We do have that as an option if you want to just download a particular selected package. Then you have the daily schedule, and it is also at 1:45 a.m. As a high-level workflow for the standalone installation, you have the self-managed or non-managed. You need to go to the grant site, or you can use the software manager to download the zip file. You copy it to the machine, you unzip it, you run the setup ep.exe. You'll have these whole on-screen instructions that you'll follow, and you'll see those in a minute. And when you're done, you restart your system and make sure that the installation was successful. And then also make sure that you get the content all updated so that it has the latest AM core and DATs. But before you begin, if I have any legacy products and I want to preserve their settings, make sure that you review those settings and you can change them as needed. Also, you do have to have administrator permissions if you want to install this. Installing ENS, as I said before, you download the bundled package, you unzip it, and then you run your setup executable. If you get a problem, you might have to go in and select Run as Administrator. Now, I want to mention it is all interactive for the installation, so you'll have pop-ups all along the way. It is not a silent install unless you make it a silent install using switches. But we do want to point out, you cannot use sysprep to have where it's already installed in a base image. You actually have to install it manually unless you have it installed by EPO, with your managed systems. So after I start running the setup ep.exe, it will prompt me for what language do I want it installed, and then I have to accept the license agreement. The next step of the installation is it will check to see if it has any incompatible products installed on your system. If they are incompatible, then you're going to have to resolve them before you actually can continue, because it will not allow you to finish the installation. In this next step, you notice that it's found that there's no incompatible products found, and so I can continue. So I click the continue button and we'll continue to the next step. The installation options pops up, where now I can select, do I want all the modules at the same time, or do I want to select only a specific module? So in this example, we show that we're only selecting the threat prevention and we're not installing the web control and the firewall at this time. And if you recall, it is not required that you have to install all of the modules at the same time. I can come back later and install just the firewall or the web control or both of them after I've done this installation. The next step is for you to monitor your installation progress, and if you'll notice, a little green bar scrolls across the screen while it is doing its installation. When it's finished, it gives you a congratulations screen. It tells you that the endpoint security was installed successfully, and then you can click the close. To verify that the endpoint security client is installed, you can go in and look at the interface of the client. From your desktop, all you have to do is click on the little McAfee shield icon and it'll pop up and you can select McAfee Endpoint Security. We'll look at the interface later on in the course. After the install, one of the things that we always recommend is that you have the most current content, such as your different DATs. So one of the things that you can do within this console is you can click the Update Now button, and then it will go to the closest repository and update its DATs. Okay. The Endpoint Security Package Designer is a tool that you can go in and create your own custom product packaging that has to do with this product, and the policies can already be pre-configured. The requirement is it has to be at least ENS 10.2 or later. You already have it installed and running on an unmanaged machine. And then what you do is you install the designer, and then you'll have two separate directories. And what you'll do is you can customize the policies for all of the different features, like the adaptive threat prevention, firewall, threat protection, web control. But I do want to point out that this is Windows only. Then I save the package, and I can check this package into the EPO master repository if I want to deploy it out to my different machines. The preserve settings functionality is ignored if you're upgrading any older versions. The workflow for using the Endpoint Security Package Designer is, as I said to you before, you install it, you run it, it needs to know where's the source package and where's the destination folder. So you have to have where you unzipped the pre-existing files that has to do with the ENS product. You create another folder that's empty, and that's going to be your destination folder. You run through, it has a whole little wizard where you can actually do any customization of the settings for the product, and then you create your package, and that will be in the destination folder. Then you can take that package and you can deploy it to your other machines. If you have any other antivirus products or firewall products, it's really not necessary for you to uninstall those products. Our wizard will automatically detect those products and it will automatically resolve the conflicts and uninstall it. So if you have the Windows firewall and it's enabled, the wizard will automatically disable the firewall so that you don't have any conflicts. If you have an incompatible software installed, it will attempt to uninstall it. If it cannot uninstall it, then you will be prompted to cancel the installation. Then you have to uninstall the incompatible software, and then it will resume for where it left off. We have a KB article, KB85522, that gives you a list of all the software products that will be uninstalled automatically. Check your understanding. True or false? To use the software manager, the McAfee EPO server requires internet access to the product download site. Is that true or false? Yes, it's true. Check your understanding. Multiple choice. Choose the correct answer. An ENS software bundle is available from the EPO software manager. From this list, which package is not included in the bundle? Oh. Is it firewall, migration, platform, threat prevention, or web control? The answer is migration. If you recall, I mentioned to you before, migration is an optional add-on that you add later. So in review, the key points that we have is always remember the ENS software has extensions and packages. How do I get the software? I can use the software manager if I have where the EPO server is connected to the internet, or I can go out and go to the product download site and put in my grant number and download the software then. I can add the extensions to the EPO server using the software manager or the extensions page. I can also add the packages using the software manager or go to the master repository page. But do understand, you do need to make sure that you manually obtain and update your EPO server with the latest security content files, or be sure you do have a update task that pulls down the DATs automatically. You cannot use the software manager that actually updates the master repository.